Alrighty, to kick things off, I guess I'll go over just the basic skills that you'll need to know and why I have them set up the way I do here. So overall, um, both the Awakening and the Pre-Awakening sets on Mystic are really good, and fortunately, they actually kind of mirror each other exactly. And so you'll find a lot of things like Dragon Shatter, which I don't have the cooldown up here, is basically the same thing as Thunder Pound, and you'll find a lot of synonymous stuff through here. And the way I have this set up right now are these are really core cooldowns that I want to watch like a hawk. Like you don't have to have all of these up if you don't want to, but I would definitely recommend looking at these three, especially grab and the triple flash step. You don't need this one. I mean, I just have it there because it looks cool. And then Wolf's Frenzy is pretty important, but I'll talk about later why I think you may want to backburner this skill because it looks like they're going to change it. From there, these two are my engage skills. Perfect Blow has forward guard, and it's a pretty quick kind of boost forward. Sea Burial makes you leap forward and has super armor, which is great. These are kind of your core damage abilities, Wave Orb and Rising Dragon. Rising Dragon doesn't really deal that much damage, but it's the best filler that you got. And it's got some really nice add-ons, if you can see there, critical hit and attack speed. Of course, we have Spiral Torpedo, and if you see this, I have this bound to 8, which is actually on my mouse. And the reason I do that is so that I can Spiral Torpedo from Awakening into, or Pre-Awakening into Awakening, and still have Scissor Kick. I like using this skill. A lot of people will actually lock it, and if you do lock Scissor Kick, you don't need to have this bound on a hotkey. You can just hit forward F. So if you notice, both of those are forward F. And if you're in pre-awake, you're going to use Scissor Kick instead of Torpedo. And then here, Rapid Stream, this definitely doesn't need to be on your cooldown slot. I just have it here to make this nice little wheel. Symmetry, man, it's important. Let's see, Dragon's Pit. This is all utility stuff. So Dragon's Pit is your big slow. In addition to Wave Orb, both of these have that mega slow on it, 30% across the board. Infinite Fortitude is the Super Saiyan mode where you get a whole hell of a lot of DP. It's basically a personal PA for you, but you can't move. And you have super armor and a grapple resist buff for 5 seconds. So this skill I'll get into a bit later, but pretty good. Hurricane Sweep is very important. I would actually keep this cooldown available so that you can see it, because you're not going to get the heals unless it is off cooldown, or on cooldown, sorry. And then finally, Tranquility. This skill is really, 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 really important, and that will be kind of the first sort of trick that I want to show you. So basically, anytime you're going to engage or dive or do whatever, attack anybody basically, you want to have attack speed up. And there are 2 ways to do that, and there are 2 different versions. And the key here is this skill, Crouching Wolf. And if you read there, if you just use it, you're going to get a 10% attack speed buff. But if you use it by consuming 30 Martial Spirit Shards, you'll get 20%, which is just nutty attack speed. And the way you do that is you want to cast Tranquility often. So you want to do it early in a fight so it's like on cooldown before you go in. And one of the cool little tricks about Mystic, and I don't know why this works, I don't think it should, but if you use any pre-awakening skill that does not consume shards, you'll get the Prey Hunt buff and the 20% attack speed without consuming the shards. So it's like this. Yeah! And all I did there was Rapid Stream and then hit spacebar. And then you'll see the 2 buffs down here. And Prey Hunt is very important. You can read in the skill tree what that does. But the most important thing is that you're getting that attack speed up. And you can just keep doing this, which is ridiculous. So you can see my Crouching Wolf cooldown. I can do it after Torpedo. I can do it after Rapid Stream. I can do it after anything that does not consume shards. But another thing to keep in mind with this is in pre-awakening, you actually do consume them just by using Crouching Wolf. So here I'm going to use Perfect Blow, and then pre, and now when I use Crouching Wolf, they go away. And that's obviously not ideal. So we use Tranquility a lot. Rapid Stream is the one I use the most. And you'll see me buff up that attack speed. And the reason I like to use Rapid Stream to do it, and sometimes I'll use Torpedo, but the reason I use Rapid Stream is you get that nice evasion buff too. 9% is, you know, it's not amazing, but it's good. What else? Let's see. The other little trick that I can think of off the top of my head is that Wave Orb is this kind of channeled. This says Frontal Guard, and you can keep channeling it. Eventually it's going to cast. And you don't really want to use that very often. There are like really niche times where that Frontal Guard actually is going to debate somebody. But overall, you want to animation cancel Wave Orb. And the best way to do that is actually by being in pre-awakening. And so if you watch this, the cast is almost instant after a pre-awakening skill. So the way you kind of want to think about this is, I guess Thunder Pound is the most common. Thunder Pound and Roaring Tiger, these guys are the two that you're going to be canceling Wave Orb the most from in pre-awake. And you can also use Perfect Blow like this. I think that's a little bit slower, but it's not by much. Like, it's better to do that than try to channel that Frontal Guard. And it gives you a little bit of distance, which is nice. So again, Perfect Blow kind of launches you forward. And I could actually do that from much further back. And I'll do Thunder Pound. Oh, I gotta wait for the cooldown. So Thunder Pound, Roaring Tiger, Wave Orb. That's a huge damage combo. And one of the main damage combos is actually just using Grab. I messed that up. So there, the point of that is to get your shards up. So as you're attacking with Elbow Edge and really anything that does not consume shards, it's going to give them to you, obviously. And overall, you can just start doing kind of, not fancy, but stuff like that, where you'll get the Twisted Collusion Super Armor, and then you can go right into Wave Orb after you get that knockdown, which is really, really good. Overall, that's really all of the little tricks that Mystic has. I can't stress enough how important this Tranquility thing is. Use it often to get your shards, and remember to keep that attack speed up, and you can just keep doing it as long as you're in Awakening. And so for Hurricane Sweep to heal, you got to remember that you actually have to hold the button now for all 3 kicks. Each one is 200 for a total of 600. And so it's not quite as good as it was, but overall you're getting more healing. And you want to be using that out of combat, like basically as much as you can. And it's going to keep you nice and healed up. The other one is Roaring Tiger. That's the other heal. And so both of those together, you know, are going to heal you pretty well. What else? We have mass destruction. That skill, the whole animation is an iframe. I could be wrong about that actually. Let me check. Okay, it's super armor for the entire skill, and it is not an iframe. It's wildly inaccurate. So you got super armor there. You got your little side flips. And the side flips, if you notice, I can keep doing it, and it will consume 1 shard if you have them. If you don't have them, it's going to go on cooldown, and you just can't do it. And so that's not great. Another little dodge technique is to use Crouching Wolf again, this skill. And if you use it, either you can do it like after a skill and hit space. And if you hold S while you do that little hop backwards. And that is an iframe. And I have this bound to Q, and I can actually do it on demand like that. So if you need to juke out of the way of something, you hold S while you do it. Easy enough. Let's see, Twisted Collusion. This skill, once you have the tree maxed up, it's pretty good overall, but you have to be exceptionally careful about how you use this now, because Twisted Collusion itself has lost its frontal guard, and so obviously you got to be pretty damn sure you're not going to be hit when you go into this. But once you're skilled up, these smashes actually deal quite a lot of damage. And it's pretty good filler, and it lets you cancel that wave warp too. Next, let's see, we'll go over the down smashes that you have. So there's a bunch of them. Sea Burial, Dragon Shatter, which I'll show you in a second, and Thunder Pound, and Roaring Tiger, all of those. Yeah. Sea Burial, Roaring Tiger, Thunder Pound, and Dragon Shatter are all of your down smashes. And it kind of doesn't matter which one you use, but for whatever reason, I have the highest success rate with Thunder Pound, and it seems to be 100%. I get it so often that I don't notice when it misses. So that's kind of your go-to. And the way that I like to get into Thunder Pound after a knockdown, say you like wave orb them first. Well, he was he's supposed to get knocked down. But like off grab, you're gonna stay in Awakening. And instead of C-swap, I choose Perfect Blow. I don't really see a great reason to use the C-swap. It's slower. So unless you just want to save that cooldown, have at it. So again, Thunder Pound, down smash. There's a Sea Burial, down smash. And finally the Dragon Shatter one. And if you'll notice, Dragon Shatter is actually the same animation as Thunder Pound. There's Dragon Shatter. There's Thunder Pound. But the major difference here is Thunder Pound has frontal guard and Dragon Shatter does not. And so that's why I often elect to go back into pre to get that down smash. It's just keeping up your frontal guard. But if you know that you're not going to be hit, or it's a 1v1 or whatever else, Dragon Shatter is the better skill to use. So you see, you get that down smash. Easy peasy. Until you get Nature's Wrath, this is what you're going to be using, Unbridled's Wrath. And the magic DP on it is really the only reason to use this skill. You know, 700 times 5 really isn't that much. And the bound is okay. I find it really, really good for getting people out of stealth because the range on it is actually pretty far. And again, you get that magic DP buff. So if you're going to be diving, it's never hurts just to go ahead and tap that. And Rage Hammer overall is pretty good damage, but very, very slow. So I don't use it that often. I basically use that as a super armor filler. So if I'm in Twisted, and then I'm just gonna ult this dummy. Because why not? So that's all super armor, extended, and then you can get your combo out. And anytime that you have 2 shards up, this is another little trick. Spiral Torpedo is always going to give you that 3rd one. So now you have 30, and you can instantly just go into your attack speed and then turn around back into combos. And if you saw, you got the full buffed damage on Wave Orb. And so I think it's kind of hard at first to manage your shards. It's, you know, hard to pay attention to. But that will become pretty much second nature. And you're going to know, you know, how many hits it's going to take to get that up to 30. And, you know, things like that. That becomes second nature over time. And so, overall, that's kind of all the tricks that I think you should know. There are some, like, mouse movement things that are really obscure, but, like, I tried practicing them, and it's just so marginal that I wouldn't even bother. And overall, yeah, you just kind of have to get in there and practice. And so now I will queue up just some general clips of me playing, and you can see kind of how I position myself when I choose to go in, when I choose to dump my damage. You'll see some, like a big wave orb and things like that. And overall, yeah, if you have any more questions, let me know.